11 million people died at the hands of the Nazis during the Holocaust. And that doesn't even include the people who were dying in battle. It's a lot of people.
Stalin was worse. Stalin killed like 20 million, and that's only the part we know.
Right, and it's all based on the information that was still available, right? That we have at our fingertips.
But Stalin won the war though.
Maybe Stalin still, I don't know.
Yeah, Hitler killed other people, Stalin was killing his people and others who won the war. So
Do you think it's worse?
I think like Hitler is worse.
Why?
Well, because he's like, Stalin killed the people because he was a paranoid, like to lead the country into a better future. He can't like risk any kind of, like, he couldn't let the humanity kind of part of the character to step in. He just wanted to like Soviet Union to win the war because like really hard to win the war.
Mm-hmm.
And basically like without any risk, he just been killing all the people that he thought may be like potential danger for his government or regime, or make maybe a revolution against him. So he just basically was killing everyone, but therefore we like.
So he eliminated all of his opponents.
Yes, well, kind of. Yeah.
Well, as many as he could. But
Well,
he could
like,
not
the people
convince
That is
people
worse
with
than
that.
what Hitler did because
Well, and Hitler did the same
He
thing.
got the hateful thing, like just because he hated Jews. That's what he was killing.
the only difference is that one's a genocide and one's a paranoid.
Well, they were both paranoid.
Oh, right. One's a paranoid genocide and one's a paranoid.
So, paranoid genocide is worse.
He killed less people than the only paranoid. What do you think?
I think.
What did they have in common?
Stalin and Hitler, or the people that were
Stalin and Hitler, what did they have in common?
they ruled?
They had complete control, right? They're two very strong dictators.
Obedient to them.
Yeah, they wanted pure obedience, and the people who threatened that, they eliminated them. So that's good that you can draw those connections, because being in a place of power like that, that's why dictators are so dangerous, right? They need that complete control, because otherwise, revolution, right? Right, Ricardo? Think of Spain.
In Spain, we didn't have that kind of thing. But
Did people revolt though?
yes.
Yeah.
There was a civil
You
war.
didn't have the genocide.
Or the killing, the
But
massive killing.
That's the other alternative.
There was.
You allow the group of people who oppose the dictator to grow and build support, and eventually there's gonna be a revolution.
Yep.
Not unlike here in the colonies. You can go all the way back to the beginning of the year and think of the colonies revolting against
Wow.
Great Britain. Great Britain could have just, I suppose they could have tried to eliminate the colonists, but then who would be here? But that's the risk you run as a dictator. You either have to be strict and eliminate those who oppose you, or run the risk of having a revolution. And in that case, you never know what's going to happen. Hopefully you have a really strong army to maintain. Good. I want to take you back to thinking of the causes of World War II. There are 5 specific causes that I'm thinking about. So what led to the start of World War II? This is gonna help us wrap this chapter up.
Germany wanting revenge over for the world because they humiliated them when they lost in the First World War.
Yeah, they were humiliated. They were left in ruins, along with most of Europe, right? Totally destroyed. What else?
Is it the cause?
Yep, we're still on the causes. So we have
The invasion of Poland.
Germans and Italians.
Oh, that's it. Didn't Italy end up with the alliance?
Was Italy with the Allies?
Yeah, with the America, and they ended up with them, right?
No. Well, we defeated Mussolini and took the Eastern Mediterranean.
That's in the African
And then-
army thing.
Yeah, that's when we went
Africa.
into Italy and then down to northern Africa and liberated, or not liberated, but freed them from Mussolini.
Did they
Oh, it's in the
Versailles
First
Treaty
World
too?
The Versailles Treaty,
Yeah,
the
Versailles.
Treaty of Versailles was, well, there were many treaties of Versailles, but if you think back to World War I, the Treaty of Versailles decided how the Allies were going to deal with the Central Powers.
Yep.
And they dealt with them rather harshly because the European allies wanted revenge. They wanted reparations, right?
And because of the Great Depression, the number of the fascist dictators, they were increasing.
Yes, because the global depression, it led way for the fascist dictators to rise. Good. You should write these all down there, because this will help you, visualize the start and end.
The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yes, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
That was during the war, no? Not before.
It was during the war, yes. But that was
Well,
one of
it's
the one of the main reasons why the United States ends up
right.
getting involved with the Allies, besides giving them supplies.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Europeans suffer massive destruction after World War I. Germans and Italians resent the Treaty of Versailles from World War I and want revenge. As Vivian said, the Great Depression leads to the rise of fascist dictators. And then ultimately, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor leads to the involvement of the United States in the war.
So basically, two main causes was the German wants to revenge, and Pearl Harbor being bombed by Japanese.
And, well, I mean, you have to remember that everything is connected, especially we saw that with the Great Depression in the United States and how that affected other countries around the world. And that was another major issue, was that economies around the world, not only in America, but around the world, were suffering because they're linked through trade.
Yeah.
And they rely on each other. Plus, a lot of money was spent during World War I, right? Money was loaned. And then during the Great Depression, remember, the United States really needed that money back that they had loaned to their allies. Which, I mean, think of the state of Europe after World War I.
Yeah.
Do you think they were in any shape to be able to repay those loans?
No.
No. So, it put everybody in a really scary place economically. Okay, so, and because of that, it opens that door for the fascist leaders to come in and say, we need to take control of this. Look at what those Americans or British have done to us.
So they just use like the poor conditions, like paper that people turn to be like their weapon.
Yeah. That's a good way of thinking of it. And then ultimately, we've got 1 minute left. Let's just spew out some of the effects of World War II. What's the state of Europe like? Is it in better condition than it was after World War I? No, it's worse. Looks like ancient ruins in Rome.
And also Japan was like totally.
Yeah, Japan was destroyed as well. Germany and the Japanese finally surrender, but only at the very extreme conditions, which was the atomic bomb.
The borders went back to the beginning.
Say that again?
When the Germans conquered France and all the other like countries, after the war, when they lost, they took more territory than what they had before the World War.
The Soviet Union does, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Soviet Union goes back on the agreements that they make at Potsdam and the Yalta Conference, which was to allow free elections in places like Poland, and that they would release them from the Soviet control. And they take that back and ultimately continue to spread communism and keep their communist reign over those countries, which ultimately leads to what? The Cold War. Because the Soviet Union and the United States were at one point allies, and with the Soviet Union taking back those promises, they became immediate enemies. Also, a great thing that came out of the end of World War II was many of the colonies in Asia and in Africa, in the continent of Africa, were liberated, right? Because remember, they're colonies of places like Great Britain, like the United States, like France, and they liberate them, they become free countries. So that's a positive outcome from World War II.
And the development of the in the United States started without the American military power.
Yeah, so the development of the atomic bomb during the war,
America shows the world like their power.
yeah, it establishes the United States as a world power, but it also motivates competition amongst other countries to build atomic bombs and Russia also comes out of the war as a world power because they were such a strong force in ending World War II.
So because among the all allies, only America helped the Jewish. Does it show that America is the humanity country, like it is friendly among all allies?
Yes, and it develops this idea of the Declaration of Human Rights, universal human rights. And the United States moves away from the idea of being an isolationist country, right? In World War I and World War II, they were hesitant to get involved. They did not want to get involved in global issues. And now, following World War II, they realize that it is their right
They need
to help protect and save people around the world. So that furthers the United States being established as a world power. All right, good job. That's a lot of information.